the forces that were, the 3 soldiers that were killed, again, as we've highlighted, they were there in support of Operation Inherent Resolve, supporting the Defeat ISIS mission.
The New York Times revealing what the Pentagon seems reluctant to admit, that the soldiers killed were part of an engineer reserve company from Georgia. Now, engineer reserve soldiers are deployed at short notice to build roads and landing fields for U.S. forces, which raises the question, again, what are engineering reservists doing in Syria? Joining us now is retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis at Defense Priorities and host of the Daniel Davis Deep Dive on YouTube. Lieutenant Colonel, building roads and infrastructure, what are we doing in the Middle East?
Look, I mean, those bases have been there for a long time. I mean, if there's anything more to build, it should have already been done, because they really haven't been. That's the big question. And then what are they actually doing? Are they just, well, I can tell you what actually most of them are doing. They're just sitting out in the middle of the desert waiting to see if they're going to get killed. And that's exactly what happened here. There is no, I don't care what anybody at the Pentagon says, there is no valid military mission that benefits the United States that any of those troops are doing in Iraq and in Syria. And the longer we keep them there, the more of these caskets are probably going to come back to Dover. The
saddest thing is to hear that these men and women were in their barracks sleeping, most of them, and this drone hit, killed those 3, injured others. They didn't know anything was coming. And it does remind me of 1983, obviously much smaller loss of life. But Ronald Reagan's reaction after 241 Marines were killed, 241 in Lebanon, was not to carpet bomb Lebanon. What did he say?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because everybody wants to talk about what Reagan did when he struck Iran in a certain case on the water, but they never mentioned what he did there, which was the much bigger issue, which was instead of escalating a war, he shut it off, he cut the losses, and he made our country a lot safer, and he ended any of our future losses. So we didn't have any more.
He pulled our people out of Lebanon.
And he brought back and kept them safe. And that's what President Biden should have done years ago. He definitely should do it now.
Well, Reagan also understood, I think, in 1983, we were not yet the economic powerhouse that he wanted us to be. We were still, building our economy. It wasn't really until 87, 88 that things really started to hum, 84, 85, 86. But I think it was peace through strength. It wasn't just get involved in every conflict and hope it works out.
Exactly. He recognized that to build strength for America, we need to not be throwing our money away and our soldiers away on pointless military missions. Let's preserve that so we can build our actual strength, our economic strength, and our cultural and moral strength, upon which our military strength is even based. And that's what he was focused on, and that's what President Biden, frankly, is not focused on.
You hear the time and place of our choosing. If you had to do a shot for as many times as you've heard the Pentagon or the White House say that we'll, at a time and place of our choosing, we'll respond. But there's concern that they're telegraphing kind of what type of response they're going to have, actually, or inflict militarily. Are you concerned about that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what I heard Molly say earlier tonight. We need to just be quiet about this, make all the plans in the background, and then let them find out when bombs are falling or whoever it's going to be. And then they'll know what's going on, as opposed to having telegraphing it like this. But I just can't say enough that we need to stop these pointless missions, because I don't want to hear any more of this nonsense about, we're going to be tough and we're going to hit at a time and place of our choosing, and this whole don't. Oh
my God, that's a policy.
That's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. No. It doesn't deter anybody anything. It doesn't make people think we're strong. But these aren't going to do it either, because they see that these little pinprick strikes we've had have not deterred anything.
What about the Secretary of Defense sitting across the table from the NATO Secretary General yesterday, and he had to read 2 lines. He had to sit and read 2 lines about obviously feeling, a sense of loss about our troops and, how we're going to stand firm. But that was it. And then he moved on to his own, health condition. It was like 2 lines. Then it was, well, and I'm feeling better and I'm going to get back to work.
Well, look, Laura, I think that performance of what happened when he didn't tell the President of the United States that he was going under.
They didn't notice he was gone. Why?
He didn't even tell his deputy.
Yeah, but they didn't notice because he's not consulted.
That's what he should have been resigned. He should have been fired after that, frankly. But he should have been fired for a lot of other things. That's just indicative.
But he's perfect for them. They don't want a real Secretary of Defense. That's my theory on that. Lieutenant Colonel Davis, great to see you in studio.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.